Taking off my I'm excited about Ozempic hat for just a moment, I want to have a frank discussion. I called this episode The Wizard of Ozempic because we need to peek behind the curtain. Do I think that this class of drugs has a great potential to help people maintain a healthier weight? I absolutely do. And I think that this path deserves further exploration and caution, but hopeful optimism. It's definitely in order this time, right? As somebody who's jokingly offered cocaine to people as a natural way to lose weight, that's the best that we had, stimulants. And now we have something a little bit more. But now we have this potential, and it's created a hype machine. And the hype machine is for a product that's going to have a nearly infinite demand in our culture because we all want to have this magic thing. I've joked about this with so many friends, and they're like, yes, get me that thing, right? You don't have to sell this stuff. It's like the boar's head baloney of the medical world. It practically sells itself. But, the fusion of these three things, the potential, the hype, and the frictionless sales process means that one thing is for certain, that the vultures are circling. There is profit to be made, and guess what? That profit to be made will come at your expense. The doctors are flinging this stuff like Oprah giving away cars. Pharmacists have no problem living on the darker side of a gray area, if you can even call it gray area. I don't believe it is. We're jumping on every opportunity to make a buck, right? And I get it, probably more than anyone. Healthcare in this country is broken. It's a for-profit system that was built on the independent practitioner that it seems to no longer value, right? I'm a fourth-generation provider in my community. I know that what I do is not only great, but it's better than any other option that's brought by the chain pharmacies, right? And I want that to work, and I fight tooth and nail, probably way too hard, every single day to keep that vision alive. But here's something that you have to hear. I can't make any money owning a pharmacy. The first time where things were linear was during COVID. And I took full advantage of that. I gave tens of thousands of vaccines for patients, and it was the first time that the healthcare games weren't played. They were all pushed out of the side to incentivize practitioners to do the right thing. And so we did. We took advantage of it. It's a lot different than selling stuff that is kind of not legal, It's a little bit different. So every time something like Ozempic compounding comes along, to survive, we all jump on this bandwagon, right? Hoping to cash in. I have to tell you, pharmacists right now are hosting classes to other pharmacists on how you too can get rich on Ozempic weight loss in your practice. Ben and I talked about all the shady practices that pharmacists are doing without any problem. And it won't be long until a compounding pharmacy A is paying not compounding pharmacy B or Dr. X to refer patients to them in illegal kickback schemes. Don't think that stuff doesn't happen, right? It's happened before and it's going to happen again. And whatever justification you want to add to this, doctors and pharmacists, this is a cash grab, and most of us are knowingly doing it in a manner that's probably illegal and definitely detrimental to our story. Pharmacists were always known as the most trusted profession. The story of the accessible, community-minded healthcare practitioner filled with integrity, breaking down complex medical information into understandable terms and advising their patients on the best choices for their health. What to do, and more importantly, what not to do, sometimes at their own financial detriment. That story is destroyed when we jump from trend to make a buck. And we become the charlatans that we stood in opposition to before. And we do it because we kind of have to, or at least we think we do. So if I'll criticize the modern pharmacist entrepreneur for anything, it's about a lack of innovation. Instead of identifying a need and bringing our pharmacist brain to that game to change the paradigm, we change our brain to fit the paradigm. So we're not riding waves, even. We're engulfed by them. And we could be making the waves, or at least creating our own bigger waves. For example, Instead of revolutionizing the wellness and supplement space by bringing the best of what we are, therapy and evidence experts, we copy and we become functional medicine doctors and alternative medicine providers. That story, those practitioners, that's an easy to sell thing. It's more recognizable to consumers. It's already working for them. And I want it to work for me, but it takes away from what you are. So have the confidence to innovate, man. Pharmacists are valuable. Stop hopping from cash grab opportunity to cash grab opportunity. Lean into our story. Speak out and speak up. So clearly I'm disgusted. I'm watching people try to profit off this by selling knockoff drugs with no due diligence. Speaking of stories, it's the same old story, isn't it? Right? Hype, that marketing propaganda, not meeting the hope, the science, and the potential. Doing the right thing takes a backseat to making money, just like supplements. It's more expensive to make a supplement that checks off all the boxes, the science, the compliance, the virtues, the values, the things that I talk about. It's easier to sell the hype that vitamin C will boost your immune system, even though that's total nonsense. It's simpler to put our collective heads in the sand as businesses, regulatory bodies, as individuals, as consumers, instead of making and asking the tough questions like, is this safe? Is this legal? Is anyone paying attention? So my beef is not with Ozempic at all. If you hear one thing, hear this. I think that there's potential here with all of these drugs in this class, right? I hope that more than anything, people can have access to a tool like this. I think it's important to have it here because the end goal is to fight the obesity epidemic that's plaguing our country. I'd like to start on the food supply and behavior issue, on that side of the argument. But if the battle begins on the other side, the end, the weight control side, that works too, man. I'm for it. So my beef, though, is with the profit first, patient last mentality. In supplements, in wellness, in the healthcare system, in the individual people that are making these decisions on a transaction by transaction basis, like, it's going to be fine. And it might be fine this time. And it'll be fine until it's not. And we've seen it not be fine. And it really, really hurts lots of people. So we've got choices. You could say that I'm asking people to make tough choices, but I don't think that they are. I think that we've been sold fast and easy for so long that we've broken our brains, and the right thing feels like the hard thing. So patience. It's all about wellness practices, man. Climb that wellness pyramid. It's a structure for living a healthier life. It's a framework that cuts out all the BS. And if an honest, trusting medical professional feels that Ozempic or whatever iteration of Ozempic there ends up being, if they think that's a good choice for you, go for it. But do your diligence, right? Don't try to cut corners. And practitioners, let's get confident, man. Innovate. So weight loss is trending. Great. There's drugs involved. Great. You're an expert. Speak on it. Become a nutrition and wellness expert where this new trend is just another tool in your toolbox. But more importantly, earn the reputation in your community and in your region as being the expert because you're discerning. You question the validity of the trends and you educate folks on the importance of due diligence. Practice wellness with integrity.